Mental clutter isn't just having a head full of thoughts. It's actually more about having the wrong kind of thoughts. Unhelpful, irrelevant, totally noisy stuff just stacked up. Like trying to carry on a conversation while 20 different radios are playing in the background. It's messy, chaotic, and honestly exhausting. And what makes it so tricky is how normal it feels, right? Like, we've kind of grown used to the constant buzz in our heads. But here's an interesting angle. Modern life hasn't done us any favors there. We've got smartphones, notifications, news, TikToks, all fighting for our attention. It's no wonder our minds are operating on overload most of the time. But here's where it gets really wild. It's not just technology or our busy schedules. It goes way deeper, like back to our caveman wiring. Our brains, these amazing survival machines, evolved to keep us alive, not to give us peace and quiet. Imagine you're living thousands of years ago. Being hyper-alert made the difference between noticing a predator or, well, being dinner. Suddenly, overanalyzing doesn't sound so bad, right? And this is something I've noticed about myself too. Like, there was this one time I was lying awake at night and my brain just wouldn't quit. I kept replaying this one unfinished work task, spinning it around in my head like over and over. That, right there, is a classic example of what they call the Zeigarnik effect. Our brains latch onto those unresolved things, and they just sit in the background like open tabs in a browser. Pretty fascinating and super annoying at the same time. So, why does our brain feel the need to load up on mental noise? Well, part of it comes from, unresolved stuff. Emotions, questions, those half-done things we just shove into mental storage instead of dealing with. And here's the kicker. They don't go away. They stick around like background noise, just waiting for the quiet moments to pop up again. Think about it like this. Every unfinished thought or decision is almost like leaving the light on in a room you're not even using. It drains you, but not enough for you to notice right away. Before you know it, every room in the house is lit, and you're trying to figure out why your mental energy feels tapped out. And let's not forget the massive role that technology plays here. I mean, we're bombarded, right? Notifications, endless scrolling, info flying at us every second. Our brains? Totally overwhelmed. It's like trying to hear someone talk while standing in the middle of a crowded, noisy party. No wonder it's hard to focus, or even think clearly sometimes. Actually, that reminds me of a story. There's this graphic designer I spoke with, Maria, who was trying to get through her workload, but kept getting interrupted by, everything. Emails, Slack messages, Instagram distractions. She'd start one project, then hop to a notification, then lose track of time going down a YouTube rabbit hole. By the end of the day, she couldn't even recall what she'd accomplished. Sound familiar? Her mental bandwidth was so packed with noise from these constant interruptions that even when she was off the clock, she couldn't fully relax or focus. It wasn't just the workload, it was the chaos in her brain. And here's the thing, it's not just Maria. I think we've all been there to some extent. It's almost like society hands us permission to live with this constant buzz as if it's normal. But, all right, so by now we've unpacked the chaos of mental clutter, why it happens, what fuels it. But let's talk about ways to actually, cut through it. And I'll be honest, this isn't about flipping a magic switch in your brain. It's more like learning to run the controls differently. First off, there's this idea of observing your thoughts without judgment. I'll admit, it sounded kind of woo-woo to me when I first heard it. But really, it's just about catching yourself in the act. Watching your mind spin without getting caught up in the spin cycle. Instead of thinking, why am I like this? You kind of step back and go, there goes my brain again, doing its thing. That small shift, just noticing instead of reacting, gives you a pause where some clarity can sneak in. And then there's this next one. Honestly, it changed the game for me, closing open loops. Do you ever have that thing, a task or a conversation or even just a lingering thought that keeps popping up like, hey, you forgot me? That's your brain telling you, please deal with this, so I can stop nagging you about it. Write it down, make a decision, say what you need to say. I mean, it's wild how much mental space you can clear just by getting stuff out of your head and into the world. Now, mindfulness is probably not a new word for anybody tuning in, But let me throw this at you. It's not about zoning out under a tree for hours, or at least it doesn't have to be. Mindfulness is more like redirecting your attention to what you're doing, as you're doing it, without letting your mind narrate the play-by-play like a sports announcer. For me, it's something as simple as washing dishes, focusing on the water, the soap, the action, without letting my head jump to emails or errands. It doesn't sound like much, I know, but in those moments, everything feels quieter. And speaking of quiet, I did this experiment recently, kind of on a whim. I decided to spend a week without social media. No Instagram, no Twitter, or, sorry, I guess we're calling it X now. Anyway, no scrolling, no liking. And wow, let me tell you, by like day 3, my head was quieter. It felt like noise I didn't even realize was there just fell away. I wasn't picking up on 100 opinions a minute or comparing my morning coffee to a travel blogger's yacht breakfast. But what really surprised me wasn't just the mental quiet. It was the sense of control I got back. You don't realize how much space all that information takes up until you stop feeding it into the machine. And that control? That's how you make room for clarity, creativity, and just, honestly, a little peace. Look, here's the big thing. Mental clutter doesn't mean you're failing or broken. Your brain's just doing its job, doing what it thinks it's supposed to do. The trick isn't to fight it, it's to guide it. Notice the noise, close the tabs, quiet the inputs, and remind yourself that not every thought or every notification deserves your attention. And that's all for today. You've been listening to Mind Jam, and I've really enjoyed unpacking this topic with you. Until next time, take care, and don't forget, you are not your thoughts.